Trying to get all my little systems together over here. Again, connecting dots. So, social emotional agility. What is it? What is social emotional intelligence? We're talking about all of that today. All of the above. So, again, good afternoon on this fine Monday, right? And special shout out to New Orleans area, right? A lot of people are returning from the break due to Mardi Gras. So clearly, I'm New Orleans girl, and I don't think that I have gotten over the fact that I missed Mardi Gras again this year, and some people would just be returning to work. Right, I've lived other places for 3 decades now, but still, it still, touches me a little bit. Anyway, so thank you for joining, y'all. We're going to have a brief discussion. A brief discussion. I'm facilitating a brief discussion today to make sure that we're connecting these dots in our awareness. Okay. So please do say hello and make sure that you let us know that you're tuning in. Make sure you say hello when you pop in. We want you to also please stay tuned and keep your head on swivel for some of the media and press updates that are going to be releasing soon, some articles, and even more podcast features, right? And other podcast updates or updates regarding podcasts, I should say, hint, hint, and some magazine sightings as well. Y'all, we're so excited and grateful for this time and space, and we're thankful for you joining us today. So again, no more lurking. No more lurking. Please do say hello. Hey, Pastor Henderson, good afternoon. All right, and thank you for saying hello. So really quickly, y'all, before we move on, one major announcement that I really want to pause to emphasize is that our upcoming webinar, we're having a webinar. It's called Beyond the Jargon, which emphasizes supporting ELLs, right? Some people say L's, it's English language learners in math class. So that's coming up on March 26th at 3 CST, at 3 p.m. CST, okay? So 2 things about this webinar, real quick. The analytics and analysis, I'll say, right? We merge that with SEL in every space. A lot of y'all know that definitely we lean into that social emotional agility, but we also have a math background. So it merges in every space that we're in, whether that's the classroom all the way up to corporate. So this information, especially in the education space, right? It is very timely. It's being presented right on the cusp of testing season, and it's offered as a free resource. So please take advantage of this. The registration page is open, and you know where to find the link, right? We always say link in the bio. So if you have any questions, shoot us a message. Okay, all right. So look, Kendall Henderson, said he's not a pastor. He said, yes, indeed, I am not a pastor. I hear you. I hear you. My apologies for that. Here we go. I was like, I must have felt something. I don't know. So as we really work you all to reflect on and recognize and relate all within this realm, right? Y'all know sometimes we get into this musical intelligence meets the world intelligence, right? The linguistic intelligence flow. So first of all, what is musical and linguistic intelligence? So the short answer is it's 2 of the 8 types of multiple intelligences. And there was a live about it, maybe about a month ago. And I'm going to encourage you to go check it out. Some really good information. So let's go again. As we really work to reflect on, recognize, and relate within the realm of social emotional agility, we want to be sure that as the knowledge is being established, built, and developed, that we also move from an increased awareness to then establishing an understanding, right? We don't want to just leave it there. We need to make sure that we relate, that we connect and apply what we're learning, what we're recognizing in real time and in the real world, okay? So whether you're catching the replay of a previous live or this one, y'all don't forget to put hashtag replay in the comments to touch base and just let us know that you're watching. So I can't say it enough again. Thank you for tuning in. Also, please say hello when you get here. Y'all, here we go. In 2023, we're making sure that we execute with intention and the spirit of synergy. And thank you all for being here. Let's do it. Today, we're facilitating this discussion again on translating from awareness to application. Right? A lot of people know a lot of things, but that serves not. That doesn't serve. So we need to make sure that we put some action behind it. We apply what we know. So moving from knowledge to action. Y'all, we want to make sure that we use this insight as we maneuver through these different aspects and different phases, even of life. So we have to step out from behind the desk. As a matter of fact, I guess I'm thinking about a lot of song stuff. So y'all remember or know that song Green Light by John Legend? When Andre 3000 tells John Legend, sometimes you have to step from behind the piano and let them know what's going on, right? Do y'all know that lyric? Yeah, we're making sure that we don't just leave it on the shelf in the form of a book or simply mulling it over as we process podcast listening or only reflect in our own brain space. We must move past the theory. Again, we have to apply it. We have to move. Okay, we must connect the dots. So that's what we're doing today. Okay, thank you, Tangerine. Y'all, so while we connect the dots today, we're trying something a little bit different in terms of our audience participation. So not emojis this time, even though y'all know how I feel about them. I love emojis, but I get a particular warm and fuzzy feeling, get super excited when the participation is on point, right? So we're going to use ellipses today. You know, those series of dots, right? Those 3 dots. Well, usually 3, but hey, do what you feel today, right? Do what you feel. So again, we're using ellipses for our participation today. Usually 3 dots, but do however many dots you would like, because in my tab with the brown voice, that's your business. That is your business. So go ahead and drop some ellipses now, please, if you are ready. Hey, Circle 31, International Women's Ministry. Thank you for joining. Jasmine, thank you for joining. Y'all go ahead and drop some ellipses, okay? So usually I'll say ellipses are used for unfinished thoughts and even incomplete sentences, but we're connecting the thoughts today. We sure are. And we're finalizing sentences on this day right here. On this day right here. So whenever a dot has been connected for you as we go through, or something resonates or hits differently, drop your ellipses, okay? That's how we'll use them today. So trying something a little bit different than the emojis. So we know that there is, So we said this a moment ago, and I really want to make sure that we reflect on and recognize and relate again in the realm of social emotional agility. We want to be sure that we move from knowledge, right? The knowledge is being established and developed, to not just an increased awareness and understanding, but definitely to where we relate, where we connect and apply in real time in the real world. So this last month or so, maybe a little bit longer, we've had these amazing discussions around awareness. So really digging deeper into the getting to know you spaces, right? Way past what's your favorite color, what's your favorite song, what's your favorite type of cake, you know, those kind of things that can be very surface level, right? Now, those things can come in handy, but really they don't reveal much about those who we know the answers for, right? That's not really powerful information. It's pretty basic, pretty surface level. So we took some time to outline the power in knowing and understanding and applying multiple intelligences. We did generational dynamics. We did cautions, things to be super careful about when you're in an intergenerational workplace. We did love languages in general, and we also talked about what love languages look like and how they can show up in lockdown as well. So all of this, y'all, all that awareness, all of that background was done because we needed to build the background knowledge, right? Educator life, we needed to build your schema before we can think more critically as we're adding some more layers and as we're connecting these dots. So we needed to be sure that we had a secure foundation to connect the beams on, such as we intend to build. Yeah, we're building in this space, we're building team, culture, and we really want a community of social emotional ninjas. That's the goal. That's the goal. But seriously, okay, I'm finding that in this conversation, um, well, in conversation and in passing, that many people are looking for like a one size fits all solution in terms of, oh, I need to do better with, or we need to do better with retention as an organization. My child, my young person isn't motivated, my employees aren't motivated, something's wrong with the morale, I don't know what's wrong with, so all these things. So whether it's a home life workspace, right, or some other type of organization, a lot of these concerns and challenges are being echoed. But if you're looking for a one size fits all solution, I have to say, yeah, there's no such thing. So there's no such thing. And part of the problem, I'm going to say that it's a 3-step problem, maybe 3.5, right? Ha ha. Y'all know I'm corny. So maybe about a 3.5 pieces. Okay. Hey, Jackie V. All right. So, challenge number one, issue number one, we've been lying. Yeah, we've been lying. Some of y'all probably clutched your pearls like, oh, no, not lying, right? We talked about generational things. And some generations, we don't use that word, Miss Anika. All right. But I'm going to say it for emphasis. We've been lying about whether or not things are working or are still working, whether that's at home, at learning institutions, or in corporate spaces. So I reference this again. I've referenced this before. A Black Panther quote from the movie Black Panther. Just because something works doesn't mean that it can be improved. So that's a thought. Yet many are having a hard time with that. They're having a hard time in that they're taking it personally. When we say taking it personally, it's because they're feeling as though the systems that they created or helped to create, whether that's socially, whether that's in the workspace, or the systems in home life, they're operating from the mindset that that they are directly connected to it, as though they couldn't be critiqued separately, right? So it's a very narrow focus in general. So again, lying about whether or not the things are working, and then not necessarily being open to feedback because they're too connected to the feedback. So 2, I keep saying we have a perspective problem. We have a perspective problem. So going back to the last scenario, too many people are taking the stance of a change or transition, again, as a personal attack on their efforts and their successes. And that especially comes into play when there's some intergenerational dynamics going on, right? You also consider this. So if the goal is for home, so think family, or then or the production and relevancy and the educational experience and the corporation and all these other spaces, if the goal is for them to have an impact, leave a legacy, etc., doesn't it make sense that the scope may need to be refreshed on occasion? Right? Doesn't that make sense? Also, the world, I personally say the world would be boring if we all thought the same. Like if we never refreshed some things about the scope, the perspective, how we approach a situation, right? The world will be boring. So consider this. Playing with some people, playing with some of y'all, right? We still have the supercomputer versus a PC versus a laptop versus a tablet versus a smartphone. We still will be sitting with this the supercomputer that took up the space of like 2 rooms type thing, playing with some people. Because if we're looking for the approach, the systems, the mindset, all those things to never be refreshed, to never be considered from a different perspective, then we will be stuck. We'll be stuck and life will be boring. How about that? Hey, Princess T, right? So as well as that, another issue, right, underneath the perspective problem, People weren't taking as much time to get to know themselves, y'all, to truly be self-aware. Now people are more in tune, and all of who they are, all of how they think, and all of how they feel should be acknowledged in a real way. For real, FR, FR. And they're requiring that. Okay, I see some ellipses. Thank you. I see it's resonating with some people. I see some ellipses. Thank you. Y'all, so who they are, how they think, how they feel, again, if it's being acknowledged in a real way, that means that we're not just glossing over things, right, with surface level questions. We're done with that. We talked about that already. And some of you all may know we've been conducting some research at Holistic Fluency, just surveying different people and different that serve in different capacities, different industries, asking them about the biggest problem, the biggest challenge that they're facing. Can you all guess? What do you all think in this moment? What do you think some of the biggest challenges they might be facing are? Because there's some themes, regardless of the capacity they serve, regardless of the industry, there's definitely been some themes. Okay. So almost without fail, right? We've had a couple people elaborate and it's gotten a little deeper, but much of it has revolved around, again, morale, retention, and motivation, whether that's home space, workspaces, or other organizations, including education spaces, right? Work, motivation, retention, and morale. So again, those surface level questions, that's not going to get it, right? Jackie V said, no, not at all. So the biggest challenge in general. So some people actually answered based on a personal response, and other people answer based on workplace. But even personally, right? Even personally, some people said, if they have a young person at home, like, I'm kind of having a hard time motivating them. I don't know, like they seem to have lost their motivation, or my young person seems kind of down. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's motivation and morale, right? That shows up in workspaces. Because for some people, that's your little person. So you automatically have retention, right? Ha ha. But some people's little people might quit you if they could. They sure might. They might quit you if, right, certain things are not adjusted, if we're not operating in this awareness that we're building, if we're not applying it. Okay. So another thing that's happening, right, where we have to really acknowledge that we have to approach things differently. Many people are no longer comfortable with their representative being present, that they truly desire genuine connections. So even more so on the heels of, this period of intense isolation due to COVID, right? Then again, people are really desiring some intense and authentic connections. Yeah, so a moment of impact. So a lot of people have been talking about the Great Resignation, which I have this question for you. Is it over? Okay, think about that. Let that marinate for a minute. And my personal vote is no. And quiet quitting. People still talk about those quite a bit. And when people say quiet quitting, I'm going to be very real with you all. Y'all get bothered because when people talk about quiet quitting, it's a very clear indication to me that they don't know what to look for. Because I'm like, it's not quiet if you're paying attention. It's not quiet at all. And let me back up some. So not just if you're paying attention, I'm gonna take that back. If you don't know what to look for because you aren't, again, connecting and you don't know your people in a real way, right? So I often talk about studying, and supporting. Y'all, that applies again in all of the spaces. All of the spaces. We said home life, workspace, right? And any other organizations for sure. So if we're seeing people, that means that this is your awareness piece. So like we said, all these past lives that we've been doing, giving different layers of awareness, different things to consider, you have to see them first, right? Way past, again, what's your favorite color? Let's see, I have some comments. Jackie V said, that's why I left my previous job, because there was no empathy when it came to my mental wellness and mental health. Mhm. And I bet they acted surprised, Jackie, because they didn't know what to look for when you would probably have been quietly quitting, huh? So Kendall said, not for me. Jobs don't believe in paying enough to live on. For sure. All right. So Net Consulting said, quiet quitting is simply doing your job and nothing more. I really despise the term. It's a lot of things though, because it's even just like the bare minimum. I agree. It's the bare minimum. And sometimes not even that. Not even that. So if you really know the person and you know what motivates them, right? You know what their strengths are. When they aren't operating in their strengths anymore, they're not being given opportunity to do so. Some other comments about the pay, right? It's not matching the passion. Then yeah, I mean it's not quiet at all, y'all. It's pretty loud, honestly. It's pretty loud for sure. So when you go past C, that basic awareness to that study piece, that's the enhanced conversation. We talked about motivation. You're adding the depth and understanding their motivation, their quirks, some of their idiosyncrasies, whether it's their, again, strengths and things to leverage. So support, that's the piece. That's really what this conversation is about. That's where you connect the dots in an actionable way so that you're not guessing about, I don't know how to motivate them, right? And we know how to best demonstrate unique appreciation, because remember we said it's not a one quick fix, it's not a one size fit all at all. And we know how to adjust and we know when to adjust because we can tell something is wrong. So that's the key. Really doing those three things with fidelity, right? Because again, it's not quiet at all. It's actually quite loud. Ellipses, anybody, right? We say we're using the ellipses if any of this resonates with you, right? Ha ha. So even with all of this awareness and knowledge being built, y'all, we always talk about how we have to focus on the intrapersonal and the interpersonal, because those are the two areas in most need of developing, whether it's individuals, right, all the way up through organizations. Because as an individual, you start with yourself, then maybe you as a peer, you as a direct report, you as a colleague, you as a leader, you as a guardian. I mean, we can go on and on, all these different facets of life, right? Because we're multidimensional beings. We were created that way. Yeah. Y'all. And then when you're interacting with others, so think about collaboration in family, in work, and in social settings, y'all. So those are the two most common areas that need developing, and always starting with awareness first. We're making sure that we talk about some of the theories. Well, you know how we feel. We're moving past that. But we start with self and then general, right? In that order, because that's how the work should be done. You all, you can't begin to understand and know how to best support someone else, if you're still working on your definition of yourself. But yet, it happens every day. So, a couple of scenarios. Imagine a young person's adult has no idea about the tone that they carry because they're frustrated, but they're really frustrated because they're unaware that they've been triggered something in themselves. It triggers something from maybe their childhood, but they carried all of that in their tone when they're addressing their young person. Then unawareness, right? Another scenario. Okay, all right, I see some fire, some flames. Maybe a team lead or a manager is absolutely baffled by the lack of motivation, seemingly lack of motivation and empathy, right, towards the job by the team members that they support, by others. Yet they have no idea. So again, this awareness piece, they have no idea how their frequent reflections on how they used to do in their job, what they used to do in their previous role, right? The role that they're not supposed to support, how their frequent sharing of this is what I did, this is how I used to do, this is how many, right? This very specific and frequent sharing, very unaware of how that impacts them supporting in their new role. They'll be perceived as less approachable and less likely to be open to others' ideas in true collaboration. So you see how that can be a problem, But is everyone aware of that? And it may not even be the case, right? But that has to be an awareness thing that's built. And let me pause to say this. So, workspace life. Okay, now it's an understood but underdeveloped thing, I'll say. They're good or outstanding individuals, that they were really good contributors, right, to the team, to whatever the goal is, that they go on to be asked to lead in some type of way. But there usually are some problems, though, because what may happen is the people skill set, the social emotional agility wasn't invested in, wasn't developed for a proper transition, especially in the mindset of being the bright spot, right, on the team, in the company, to multiplying and reproducing the brilliance throughout the building, right? Education spaces included. That usually does not happen because whatever the talent and skill set was that it took to do your previous position, when you transition to a leader, right? In whatever the space is, a different skill set has to be developed, but that's usually not what happens. They say, okay, let's go, right? Teach everyone else to do it. You did your job well, let's do this. But it's literally a people quotient, people factors that have to be developed, truly. All right. Y'all, if you need some ideas on where to start building awareness, as you recognize that not only that need, right, remembering yourself first, but you understand the impact if neglected, right? And I'll say whether it's neglecting at self in general, in the community, and community being, again, home, education, or workspaces, you understand the impact that if that awareness is neglected, my goodness, that's a big step. But then not just sitting there thinking about it, move into action, right? So we invite you to view some of our past lives, as many tools and many insights were discussed and revealed. Y'all, so please go check them out, all right? Y'all, the list and research goes on and on for how awareness and application of this knowledge, being social, emotional, agile, right? Being social, emotional, agile, there's a lot of research behind it that says that it adds value to bottom lines, to individuals, to client journeys, to personal experiences, to relationships. These relationships, whether they're friendships, parenthood, with your bae, with your boo, right? We touched on workspace already. Yo, we want to be clear that this is how, want to be clear that this is how this knowledge of self first, then rippling to others, can literally cause a shift, right? In all of the situations when you're doing any kind of awareness, whether it's self / rippling out to others, just that reminder to be willing to be authentic and transparent, willing to do the work diligently, not when you feel like it, but diligently, and inspecting what you expect with fidelity. Again, in all of the community levels, all the levels. Yes, Jackie V said, let's move into action. Yes, ma'am, for sure. Yeah, so this is why we are engaging in this dialogue, to really understand the impact on team dynamics. And again, I'm using the term team loosely because I'm meaning every level of community, from the home, classroom, other educational institutions, corporate space, whatever the organization. Yeah, understanding the impact on dynamics, the hows and whys of the importance of being concerned, recognizing, and reflecting. With this awareness, y'all, you can make predictions about possible challenges amongst the team as a whole, or that individual team members might have. You can predict some of the objections that they might have as well, based on, maybe personality types, with being aware of that. Okay. You can develop an overall strategy and collaboration pods, right, that consider and are mindful of everyone's needs. You can leverage strength to improve in other areas. And y'all, you can truly curate an organizational culture that's positive and moves with synergy, right? Where everyone truly works well together. But we have to be willing to, again, Jackie V echoed, be authentic and transparent while you're doing this work. Yeah, my name is Anika S. Jones. Please say the S. Y'all know how I feel about it. I am the community curator, and I also serve as the lead consultant of Holistic Fluency. We add value, whether individuals or organizations, by building relational capacity and emotional agility, right? Our big topic today, one of our big topics. So we want everyone to be smooth with it, y'all. We want a community of relational ninjas out here. Okay. Um, Thank you again for tuning in. Help us spread the word, please, by reposting, sharing, and tagging people. We definitely appreciate it, and we hope you'll tune in next time. All righty. Bye-bye.